Hello, basketball fans! It's me, DC, here to help you get ready for week 8 of the NBA season and your fantasy season by breaking down the schedule. We start, as we always do, by looking at pace and defensive efficiency. No movement, no surprises up top. The teams we most want to attack are Memphis, Charlotte, Sacramento, Houston, Orlando. Out of that group, Memphis and Charlotte are probably the best teams, right? Houston, Sacramento, Orlando. Sorry, fans of any of those teams. They're not going so great. But Memphis and Charlotte, for different reasons. Memphis has really bad defense. Despite being able to win some games, they just have the worst defense in the league right now and still have. And Charlotte plays at a really quick pace, which makes both these teams a lot of fun to watch. As long as you aren't like a Thunder fan last night when Memphis destroyed them. In fact, I've mentioned before that we use the defensive efficiency comes from cleaning the glass, which cuts out garbage time. Last night, I don't know if it was a record blowout, which means it's probably a record. There was 12 minutes of garbage time, meaning the entire fourth quarter was cut out. And this is why we use it, because you can't really account for the numbers that were in the end of that blowout game. Well, it's kind of fun and kooky and a historic win margin. We're not going to use that to predict what's going to happen in future games because, that wouldn't indicate what's going to happen in the future. Let's take this, though, and apply it to the schedule. As we look at the schedule overview, let's just talk about total games. Instead of just the negative, which should jump out at you is the Spurs have 5 games this week, which is great. Not only that, when we talk about streaming, they're on excellent days, which I guess if you're playing 5 of 7 days, odds are you're going to have some good matchups in there anyway. The downside is Atlanta, Phoenix, and Toronto only have 2 games each. So if you're in a daily or weekly locks league, you might need to avoid them completely. You could still roll them out there. I played LeBron for week 7 with only 2 games because I thought it'd be work. And then health and safety protocols, he missed a game. He only got 1 game, and I really wish I didn't. But you can't predict this stuff. And that's the downside of weekly lock leagues, is that this is going to happen sometimes. But if you're in daily change, maybe you can work these in. But none of these teams have great, like Toronto's playing 2 games, and they're also not on the streaming days. So you got to take a look at that. Beyond that, 13 teams play 4 games, 13 teams play 3 games, so it's pretty evenly balanced there. And a heads up for next week, week 9, OKC will only play 2 games. So just keep that on your radar when you're making waiver moves. And it'll come back up when we do the show on Sunday about waivers. Let's go ahead and look at the back-to-backs. Let's start with our list of trouble guys that don't play on back-to-backs, and that list is getting shorter and shorter. Unfortunately, if you've got Kemba rostered and he's out of the rotation, that doesn't help, but it is one less name we're tracking here, right? So does Connolly have a back-to-back? Yeah, Utah does. Now, he's played on back-to-back, so it's only a maybe now. It's not a guarantee he's going to miss. Does Horford have a back-to-back? Yes, but same thing. Boston has played him at times, so none of these are for sure. Siakam, no back-to-back, and he might be coming off this list now. He's been back from injury for a little bit. He has played on back-to-back, so he's probably coming off this. Embiid, he does have a back-to-back just because he just got back from having COVID. I assume he's going to rest on back-to-backs. They do that when COVID's not related, but I don't have any evidence to support that. So he's on the list. Just be aware Embiid does have a back-to-back. LeVert, no back-to-back, and he's played on back-to-back on the 28th, 29th, so he might be getting off this list soon. Lowry, no back-to-back. He also has played on the 23rd and 24th, so he has done it sometimes, and Jimmy's out with a hurt tailbone, so they might rely on Lowry more. Also, Bam is out too, so minute-wise, they might just need him if they can, but hopefully Jimmy will be back by next week, and hopefully Lowry's playing for you anyway. And then Eric Gordon hasn't been on this list because he's only 19% rostered, but yes, Houston does have a back-to-back. There's a good chance he's going to rest. They're not really in a situation where they're trying to win games, so maybe he should be on this list. Beyond that, if you're trying to jumpstart your week by looking at the back-to-backs, the only team with a Monday-Tuesday back-to-back is San Antonio. And there's only 2 teams that end it on Saturday, Sunday with the back-to-back. Again, San Antonio and Orlando. So if you're attempting to do that, that's where you want to look for it. But that really kind of gets us into the idea of who you're going to stream this week. So let's switch it over and take a look at the streaming schedule. So obviously, if my gear didn't give it away, San Antonio is the team we want to attack this week. They've got 5 games total, and 4 of them are on the streaming days. The really low volume days, Tuesday, Thursday, when there's only 3 games each, they get to play both of those. The only other team with that are the Lakers. So the number 1 team you want to go after is San Antonio. The number 2 team is the Lakers, if you're trying to minimize your moves. Unfortunately, neither of those teams have a ton of depth that you could pick up. The Lakers are what they are. They've been here as a good streaming team for a bunch of weeks, and there's not a lot we can pick up there, but you can look for your waiver wire. Hopefully, I know some of you are in shallower leagues, 8, 10 teams. There might be a little more options, but the Lakers have a pretty tight rotation. I don't know that it's going to be there. For the Spurs, let's go ahead and look at the minutes. So I went ahead and looked at the roster percentage for everyone on the Spurs. Even though we're not really going to talk waivers now, the idea is to give you an edge here to get a jump on this. So if the Spurs are the obvious team to attack, in fact, I should add, San Antonio plays this Saturday, week 7, tomorrow, which is also a streaming day. They get to play Golden State, and Golden State's on the second night of a back-to-back. So if you're thinking about Spurs, you want to pick them up right now, play them on Saturday, and then get 5 games next week. You will get a ton of use out of these single moves and lower your total moves that you have to do for the year in case you have a cap on the total year. Anyway, looking at the minutes and the rotation, I went through, the main guys, Keldon Johnson, 82% roster, DeJounte Murray, 98, Derek White, 89, Jakob Poeltl, 88. You're not going to be able to pick up these guys in most leagues. If you can grab one of those guys, grab them right now. They shouldn't be out there anyway. But if you're in a shallower league, make a cut that feels a little painful and get DeJounte Murray. I can't believe he'd be out there. He's only out there in 2% of leagues. But just double check that. Make sure someone didn't make a wacky move. Otherwise, Devin Vassell is the main way I'm going to attack. He's rostered in 38% of leagues, so he's available in over 60%. And on the year, he's ranked 120 in 8 categories. I don't count turnovers. Thaddeus Young's probably next on the list. He's 26% rostered. He's only playing like 10 minutes a game. So I'm not expecting an explosion here, but if we're trying to just get those edges, Vassell's definitely where I go number 1. Then Thad Young. And I don't feel great about it, but maybe Doug McDermott. The problem is like, what am I going to recommend? Bryn Forbes. Lonnie Walker, I'd like to, but right now he's playing 18 minutes. It's not making a big impact. He's ranked 293 on the year. It's worth giving Lonnie Walker a look. I'd hope he'd pick it up for us with 5 games, but right now it's not there. So if you're not tagging the Spurs and there's no one really out there for the Lakers, what are we going to do? I think we need to look later in the week. I tried to, because Tuesday and Thursday are the days you really want to get some guys in. It's the lowest volume game, so you're definitely going to get to play whoever you pick up. I tried to look at Tuesday and Sunday, who would be out there, and there's not a single team that has Sunday of week 7, which is a streamable day, and Tuesday. So that's off, just completely off. We can't consider it. So then I think the way you really want to look at this is the teams that play on Thursday and Saturday in week 8. So don't make any moves for earlier in the week unless you can get someone like from San Antonio. Focus on the Thursday, Saturday streaming. Those teams are Denver, Memphis, Philly, and Utah. So all those teams play both of those days. You'll probably get someone in there if you make those minimal pickups. And then that allows you the option to try and make a move for someone who's playing Sunday to carry us into the next week. And by that time, we'll already be making a Friday video to look ahead for that, because you could also stream on Sunday. The only exception's Orlando, who I mentioned before. They have that back-to-back Saturday, Sunday. So if there's no one out there from Denver or Memphis, and I think you'll probably be able to pick up someone from between Memphis, Philly, Utah, you'll get someone there. Otherwise, you can go ahead and look at Orlando about sneaking someone in there for the Saturday, Sunday at the end of the week. That's going to do it for the Friday show. If you want to get to these spreadsheets, the link is always included down below. I appreciate your likes, your comments, leave your questions. Anyone else you're looking at for the waivers before we get to the waiver show, go for it. I added an extra tab to the spreadsheets for this week to show these Spurs numbers that I have. It's not as pretty as the graphic I have here, but I added an extra tab in case you're trying to look at that. Otherwise, good luck finishing strong in week 7, and let's go out and win your week 8. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts, and I'll be back soon with another video for you.